century-old train tunnels in Baltimore and New York to get funding from Biden's infrastructure law. What is going on, guys? Brandon here, and just more of your clown world, Moscow time, as Nolan Bowerley calls it, more of your clown world news. So everyone knows, well, hopefully you know that there was nearly a $2 trillion omnibus bill passed right before Christmas. What is it, December 23rd? Oddly enough, the same exact day, I believe, as the Federal Reserve Act was passed 100 plus years ago, 110 years ago. So, it's eerie how these things work out. They're just shoving things in right before Christmas so no one knows. And, it's a way that, the Viz video is really just, you can see really quickly how these things can spiral out of control when no one stands up to anything, how it affects your life at the end of the day, meaning you now have to pay, $1,500, $1,000 for that Xbox, that new Xbox you want, or a new PlayStation, instead of, $200 or $100, because technology gets cheaper over time. So the fact that some of these game systems continue going up in price, I used to be a gamer back in the day, when I was a kid, and I was in college and stuff, and the price, kind of stayed the same generally, and sometimes it'd even go down. But now, like, some of them are the same or they're more. Technology should get cheaper over time. It's deflationary. However, when you have politicians taking your hard-earned wealth, your time and energy, and then printing more currency, so stealing, theft, literally stealing your time and energy that you are going to spend at work, or you are going to spend in doing something, maybe you're not doing much at all, I don't know, but you're still getting taxed some way, some shape or form. You're driving, you're paying tax, you're paying state tax, you're paying excise tax, you're paying sales taxes when you're buying things, whatever it is, you're paying tax somehow, some way or another. You're paying property taxes, and even if you're renting, you're paying the property taxes for the landlord that you have. All of those continue to go up. Your rent continues going up. Everything continues going up in your life, and your standard of living becomes less and less and less. If we had it the opposite way, and the whole point of this is that where is this funding going? Whether it's Ukraine, whether it's these tunnels that are a century old, like, who cares at the end of the day? Maybe we need it, maybe we don't. Why is that? Why is this something that we're putting, and it tells you how the infrastructure bill works here. And just the $1.2 trillion federal infrastructure package that no one read. No one knows what happened. The whole thing was almost $2 trillion. No one read it. They're jamming in all the little fun little pork barrel things, a little fun little piece of spending that they want to pay themselves off, their buddies, their family, their constituents, whatever it is. And they're just jamming it in there so that way they don't have to vote on every single thing individually and get called out on it, right? It's just a way to say, oh, well, yeah, I did vote for that thing. It was all in the same package. There's nothing I could do because I had to get my thing passed because that's what you wanted. And it's a cop-out. It's a cowardly, unaccountable, irresponsible thing to do. And it's the way we live our life now. And no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to think about it. But this is how life works now. If you're more irresponsible, if you're more unaccountable, you get rewarded, seemingly. You're a company that's a zombie company, can't pay the debt on your, you can't service the debt that you have. Doesn't matter. We'll bail you out. Boeing, GM, and on and on and on, right? Just get cash. We'll just get cash. That's all. Delta, whoever, all these companies, it doesn't matter. You just get bailed out. 20% of the companies in the S&P 500 are zombie. Can't afford their debt. Can't service it. Yet they're allowed to exist still. Can't make room for even better companies. Can you imagine having 10 times better products out there? 1,000 times? What if you had an Xbox? What if you had a PlayStation? What if you had products, a TV? What if they were 1,000 times better than what you had now? Just imagine that. We could have that. You can have that in a hyper Bitcoinized world where incentives were aligned, and you actually had a free market that could find a price discovery and have a price equilibriums where incentives were aligned, supply chains were fixed, because we didn't have this fiat crumbling legacy system slipping under the waves like the Titanic and raising the cost of everything and lowering the standard of living. See, this is what happens when you get into collectivism, when you get into a socialist, communist, collectivist type states. The government runs everything. There's no incentive for the government to do anything well, because now, coming full circle again, who's making sure the cash is going where it needs to go? Who's making sure that the cash is going to these tunnels? Who's making sure that the cash is going to Ukraine? Who's making sure the cash, we just let that arms dealer out for Brittany Griner just recently, and it's already, reports are that he's already bought much of the vehicles that and military equipment that we left behind in Afghanistan a year and a half ago, because that was something that the Biden administration, the government, was trying to cover up then, right? They covered up by saying, oh, you know what, everyone's got to have the injections. That's mandated now. And that just caused the whole world to go into a tizzy. Well, we all forgot very quickly about the disaster that Afghanistan was and the $100 billion of equipment we left there. Well, who just picked all that up? The Russians did. The Russians just picked it up, or at least the Russian arms dealer. Now he's selling it all around the world. And so now you have Russian perceivably using our equipment, fighting, or Ukrainians using our equipment now, because we're just directly giving the equipment to Ukrainians and all of our tax money. And they just print it, and this is directly through our tax money, and then indirectly through inflation. They just print it, and then we pay it through higher and higher costs. An Xbox that's now $1,500 or $1,000 instead of $100 or $50. Yes, and it could be that much, but we don't allow it to be that because we keep voting for people who keep kicking the can down the road, who keep this inflationary system up and running, and it will absolutely collapse in and of itself. It will implode of epic proportions. And everyone who thinks that it won't happen, you have another thing coming. And you haven't read much history in your life. You haven't read the Great Depression. You haven't read the Weimar Republic. You haven't read the Zimbabwe hyperinflations and Venezuela and all the things that happened just in the last 100 years. You don't even have to look back to the Roman Empire or the Spanish Empire or the Portuguese or the British Empire. You don't have to look into those things. Just in the last 100 years, what happened? So we are coming to a crucial crossroads. And those who are prepared will become, not only will they survive and thrive, they will be massively wealthy. They'll be buying Sony, the company. They'll be buying the company. If you are in the Bitcoiners will be the ones who run Sony, who own Microsoft. It's not going to be the people. And again, that's the first time I predicted this, and that will happen. Companies like this. It might not be Microsoft specifically, but you're going to have Bitcoiners, whether it's the Jack Dorseys of the world or whoever it is. Maybe it's Elon Musk. Maybe he becomes a full Bitcoiner. He owns Bitcoin, but he's not a true Bitcoiner yet. They'll be the ones. They will be the ones who now they've changed. As Max Kaiser says, Bitcoin, you don't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you. So if you align with the incentives and you become the person of higher thinking, of higher intelligence, mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, and you align all that, you will be the people that inherit the earth. The meek, the humble shall inherit the earth. In the Bible, right? So it's in the Bible. And the people that humble themselves and say, you know what? As Alvin Toffler talked about in Future Shock, he talked about the people that will be successful in the world going forward are the people that can learn, unlearn, and relearn. And most people just cannot hold two opposing thoughts in their head at the same time, have a very hard time with that. And they just think, well, you know what, Brandon, you're completely wrong because it's this new thing and I don't get it, so I don't want to research it. And so, you know what, I'm just going to go along with this corrupt, diabolical fiat legacy system. So who exactly is going and figuring out where this is going? That's what I want to know. Who's going to figure out if this is the right thing to do, and where is this cash going? Where are we getting this funding from? Because now we're all paying for it. We're all paying for it. So if you got something else, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please share it. Please, someone who is on the fence, who thinks, you know what, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. It won't affect me. Please share this with them. Please help them understand why those are the people that it hurts most. The people that are most unaware of what's going on get hurt the most. Right? The people that are plugged in and know what's going on, we tend to figure out other ways to become wealthy. Let's just say that, right? Like wealthy in mind, body, spirit, everything. Wealth. We become wealthy in many other ways. People that are unaware, they lose the most at the end of the day. The wealth gap is the biggest threat to society. That is it. The more that grows, the more we're in a fiat system, the more that grows, the more unrest we're going to have. It predicted that here a long time ago. We're going to have much more unrest. We're already seeing it, unfortunately, a lot of bad things happening right now across the world, across the United States, because more and more unrest, more opioids, more pills, more division, more hate, more of that gap growing, people trying to point fingers at what's going on instead of looking and realizing, oh, it's me. It's here, as Jim Rohn would say. It's not all of you. Everyone's got a list of all these people that they're going to blame, when in reality, we need to put ourselves in that list first. I appreciate you. Please share this. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate your time. It's the most important asset we have. Bitcoin is time, and time is Bitcoin. It's not financial advice. This is freedom advice. We'll see you on the next one.